Hey everybody, welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. This will be Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 42, the breaking of the bow, Krishna breaking of the bow, and the killing of the elephant in chapter 43. So, as usual, we'll start out tonight by offering our humble respects to our esteemed spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Namo Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devim, Gaurivani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Srinyavari Paschat Yaresha Tarane, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Giridhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So I'll start out as usual. We have about 80 verses. So it looks like we could do 15 each and then see if somebody else shows up. How about that? We'll do 15 each tonight. So I'll start as usual. This is text one. Sukadeva Goswami said, as he walked down the King's Road, Lord Madhava then saw a young hunchback woman with an attractive face who carried a tray of fragrant ointments as she walked along. The bestower of the ecstasy of love smiled and inquired from her as follows. Lord Krishna said, who are you, O beautiful thighed one? Ah, ointment. Who is it for, my dear lady? Please tell us truthfully. Give us both some of your finest ointment, and you will soon gain a great boon. The maidservant replied, O handsome one, I am a servant of King Kamsa, who highly regards me for the ointments that I make. My name is Trivakra, who else but you too deserve my ointments, which the Lord of the Bojas likes so much. Her mind overwhelmed by Krishna's beauty, charm, sweetness, smiles, words, and glances, Trivakra gave both Krishna and Balaram generous amounts of ointment, anointed with these most excellent cosmetics, which adorned them with hues that contrasted with their complexions. The two lords appeared extremely beautiful. Lord Krishna was pleased with Trivakra, so he decided to straighten that hunchback girl with a lovely face, just to demonstrate the results of seeing him. Pressing down on her toes with both his feet, Lord Achyuta placed one upward pointing finger of each hand under her chin and straightened up her body. Simply by Lord Mukunda's touch, Trivakra was suddenly transformed into an exquisitely beautiful woman with straight, evenly proportioned limbs and large hips and breasts. Now endowed with beauty and character and generosity, Trivakra began to feel lusty desires for Lord Keshava. Taking hold of the end of his upper cloth, she smiled and she addressed him as follows. Trivakra said, Come, O hero, let us go to my house. I cannot bear to leave you here. O best of males, please take pity on me, since you have agitated my mind. Thus entreated by the woman, Lord Krishna first glanced at the face of Lord Balaram, who was watching the incident, and then at the faces of the cowherd boys. Then with a laugh, Krishna replied to her as follows. Lord Krishna said, O lady with beautiful eyebrows, as soon as I fulfill my purpose, I will certainly visit your house, where men can relieve their anxiety. Indeed, you are the best refuge for us homeless travelers. Leaving her with these sweet words, Lord Krishna walked further down the road. The merchants along the way worshipped him and his elder brother by presenting them with various respectful offerings, including pan, garlands, and fragrant substances. The sight of Krishna aroused Cupid in the hearts of the city women. Thus agitated, they forgot themselves. Their clothes, braids, and bangles became disheveled, and they stood as still as figures in a painting. Lord Krishna then asked the local people where the arena was in which the bow sacrifice would take place. When he went there, he saw the amazing bow, which resembled Lord Indra's. Someone else pick up there, text 16.
Bhavananda would like to read.
Okay.
Shock everybody here.
Mm.
The most opulent bow was guarded by a large company of men who were respectively worshiping it. Krishna pushed his way forward, and despite the guard's attempts to stop him, picked it up. Easily lifting the bow with his left hand, Lord
Urukrama.
Urukrama strung it in a fraction of a second, as his guards looked on. He then powerfully pulled the string and snapped the bow in half, just as an excited elephant might break a stalk of sugarcane. The sound of the bow's breaking filled the earth and sky in all directions. Upon hearing it, Kamsa was struck with terror. The enraged guards then took up their weapons and wanted to seize Krishna and his companions, surrounded them and shouted, "Grab him, kill him." Seeing the guards coming upon them with evil intent, Balaram and Kesava took up the two halves of the bow and began striking them down. After also killing a contingent of soldiers sent by Kamsa, Krishna and Balaram left the sacrificial area by its main gate and continued their walk about the city, happily looking at the opulent sights. Having witnessed the amazing deed Krishna and Balaram had performed, and seeing their strength, boldness, and beauty, the people of the city thought they must be two prominent demigods. As they strolled about at will, the sun began to set. They left the city with the cowherd boys and returned to the cowherd's wagon encampment. At the time of Krishna's departure from Vrindavana, the gopis had foretold that the residents of Mathura would enjoy many benedictions. And now the gopis' predictions were coming true, for the residents were gazing upon the beauty of Krishna, the jewel among men. Indeed, the goddess of fortune desired the shelter of that beauty, and so much that she abandoned many other men, although they worshipped her. After Krishna and Balarama's feet were bathed, the two lords ate rice and milk. Then, although knowing what Kamsa intended to do, they spent the night there comfortably. Wicked King Kamsa, on the other hand, was terrified, having heard how Krishna and Balaram had broken the bow and killed his guards and soldiers as simply as a game. He remained awake for a long time, and both while awake and while dreaming, he saw many bad omens, messengers of death. When he looked at his reflection, he could not see his head for no reason. For no reason, the moon and the stars appeared doubled. He saw a hole in his shoulder. He could not bear the sound of his life air. Trees seemed crowded with a golden hue, and he could not see his footprints. He dreamt that he was being embraced by ghosts, riding a donkey and drinking poison, and also that a naked man smeared with oil was passing by wearing a garland of
Nalada flowers.
Nalada?
Yeah, Nalada.
Flowers. Seeing these and other such ornaments, both while dreaming and while awake, Kamsa was terrified by the prospect of death, and out of anxiety, he could not sleep. When the night had finally passed and the sun rose up again from the water, Kamsa set about arranging for the grand wrestling match. Good place for somebody.
Okay.
Shall I continue since I
please.
have my computer on?
Yeah.
Okay. The king's men performed the ritual worship of the wrestling arena, sounded their drums and other instruments, and decorated the viewing galleries with garlands, flags, ribbons, and arches. The city dwellers and residents of the outlying districts, led by Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, came and sat down comfortably in their galleries. The royal guests received special seats. Surrounded by his ministers, Kamsa took his seat on the imperial dais. But even as he sat amidst his various provincial rulers, his heart trembled. While the musical instruments loudly played in the rhythmic meters appropriate for wrestling matches, the lavishly ornamented wrestlers proudly entered the arena with their coaches and sat down. Enthused by the pleasing music, Chanura, Mustika, Kuta, Shala, and Toshala sat down on the wrestling mat. Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherds, summoned by the king of the Bhojas, presented him with their offerings and then took their seats in one of the galleries. There we go.
Okay. And Maharaj, would you like to pick it up where Krishna kills the elephant Kuvalaya Pida?
My God. Kuvalaya.
Kuvalaya Pida.
Kuvalaya.
Yeah.
Kuvalaya.
Kuvalaya Pida.
Yeah, ku means bad. Yeah.
He was
Kuvalaya
bad.
Pida.
Yeah, he was one to kill Krishna.
Sukadeva Goswami said, O chastiser of the enemies, Krishna and Balaram, having executed all necessary purification, then heard the kettle drums resounding at the wrestling arena, and they went there to see what was happening. When Lord Krishna entered the entrance to the arena, he saw the elephant Kuvalayapida blocking his way at the urging of his keeper, securely binding up his cloths and tying back his curly locks. Lord Krishna addressed the elephant keeper with words as grave as a rumbling cloud. O driver, driver, move aside at once and let us pass. If you don't, this very day, I will send both you and your elephant to the abode of Yamaraj. Thus threatened, the elephant keeper became angry. He goaded his furious elephant, who appeared equal to death, and Yamaraj into attacking Lord Krishna. The Lord of the Elephant charged Krishna and violently seized him with his trunk. But Krishna slipped away, struck him with a blow, and disappeared from his view among his legs. Okay. Infuriated at being unable to see Lord Keshav, the elephant sought him out with his sense of smell. Once again, Kuvalayapida seized the Lord with the end of his trunk, only to have Lord forcefully free himself. Lord Krishna then grabbed the powerful Kuvalaya Pida.
Kuvalaya Pida.
Yeah,
Kuvalaya.
but it's a compound word. It's a compound word there,
Yeah. Kuvalaya Pida.
Kuvalaya Pida.
Got the long A on the ya and P.
Yeah, but the long A is combined, two A's combined actually.
Yeah.
Kuvalaya Apida. By the tail, and playfully dragged him 25 bow lengths as easily as Garuda might drag a snake. As Lord Achyuta held onto the elephant's tail, the elephant tried to twist away to left and right, making the Lord swerve in the opposite direction, as a young boy would swerve when pulling a calf by the tail. Krishna came face to face with the elephant and slapped him and ran away. Kuvalayapida pursued the Lord, managing to touch him again and again with each step, but Krishna outmaneuvered the elephant and made him trip and fall. As Krishna dodged about, he playfully fell on the ground and quickly got up again. The raging elephant, thinking Krishna was down, tried to gore him with his tusks, but struck the earth instead. His prowess foiled the lordly elephant Kuvalaya Apida went into a frenzied rage out of frustration. But the elephant keepers, plural, goaded him on, and he furiously charged Krishna once again. The supreme killer of the demon Madhu confronted the elephant as he attacked, seizing his trunk with one hand. Krishna threw him to the ground. Lord Hari then climbed onto the elephant with the ease of a mighty lion, pulled out a tusk, and with it killed the beast and his keepers. Okay. Now somebody else can continue with the adventure.
Who wants some? Jai Krishna?
Yeah, I'll take some.
Okay.
Okay. Leaving the dead elephant aside, Lord Krishna held onto the tusk and entered the wrestling arena. With the tusk resting on his shoulder, drops of the elephant's blood and sweat sprinkled all over him, and his lotus face covered with fine drops of his own perspiration, the Lord shone with great beauty. My dear king, Lord Ballabha, and Lord Janardana, each carrying one of the elephant's tusks as his chosen weapon, entered the arena with several cowherd boys. The various groups of people in the arena regarded Krishna in different ways when he entered it with his elder brother. The wrestlers saw Krishna and his lightning bolt, the men of Mathura as the best of males, the women as Cupid in person, the coward men as their relative, the impious rulers of the chastiser, his parents as their child, the king of the Bhojas as death, the unintelligent as the supreme Lord universal form, the yogis of the absolute truth, and their Vishinis as their supreme worshipable deity. When Kamsa saw that Kuvalapita was dead and the two brothers were invincible, he was overwhelmed with the anxiety. O king, arrayed with the variegated ornaments, garlands, and garments, just like the pair of excellency costumed actors, the two mighty armed lords shone splendidly in the arena. Indeed, they overpowered the minds of all onlookers with their effulgences. O king, as the citizens of the city and the people from outlying districts gazed upon those two supreme personalities from their seats in the galleries, the force of the people's happiness caused their eyes to open wide and their faces to blossom. They drank in the vision of the Lord's faces without becoming satiated. The people seemed to be drinking Krishna and Balaram with their eyes, licking with them with their tongues, smelling them with their nostrils, and embracing them with their arms, reminding the Lord's beauty, character, charm, and bravery. The members of the audience began describing his features to one another according to what they had seen and heard. The people said, "Those two boys are certainly expansions of the Supreme Lord Narayana, who have descended in this world in the home of Vasudeva. This one, Krishna, took birth from Mother Devaki, who was brought to Gokula, where he has remained concealed all this time, growing up in the house of King Nanda. He made Putana and a whirlwind demon meet with death, pulled down the two Arjuna trees, and killed Sankachuta, Kesha, Devukana, and similar demons. He saved the cows and the cowherds from a forest fire and subdued the serpent Kalea. He removed Lord Indra's false pride by holding the best of mountains with one hand for an entire week, thus protecting the inhabitants of Gokula from rain, wind, and hail." Hello, Maharaj. Thank you for the opportunity.
That is
I'm done.
wow. I love that. I love that. Vamsi, are you there? Vamsi?
Yes, Prabhuji. I can.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
You'd like to take us home here on this. I think there's
Yes,
15 or so left, right?
yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you so much. The gopis overcame all kinds of distress and experienced great happiness by seeing his face, which is always cheerful with smiling glances and even free of fatigue, and ever free of fatigue. It is said that under his full protection, the Yadu dynasty will become extremely famous and attain wealth, glory, and power. The lotus-eyed elder brother of his Lord Balram is the proprietor of all transcendental opulences. He has killed Pralamba, Vatsaka, and Baka, and other demons. While the people talked in this way and the musical instruments resounded, the wrestler Chanura addressed Krishna and Balram with the following words. Chanura said, "O son of Nanda, O Rama, you two are well respected by the courageous men and are both skillful at wrestling. Having heard of your prowess, the king has called you here, wanting to see for himself. Subjects of the king who try to please him with their thoughts, acts, with words are sure to achieve good fortune, but those who fail to do so will suffer the opposite fate. It is well known that cowherd boys are always playful as they tend their calves, and that the boys playfully wrestle with each other while grazing the animals in the various forests. Therefore, let's do what the king wants. Everyone will be pleased with us, for the king embodies all living beings." Hearing this, Lord Krishna, who liked to wrestle and welcomed the challenge, replied with the words appropriate to the time and place. Lord Krishna said, "Although forest dwellers, we are also subjects of the Bhoja king. We must gratify his desires, for such behavior will confer upon us the greatest benefit. We are just young boys and should play with those of equal strength. The wrestling match must go on properly so that irreligion does not taint the respectable members of the audience." Chanura said, "You aren't really a child or even a young man, and neither is Balrama the strongest of the strong. After all, you playfully killed an elephant who had the strength of 1,000 other elephants. Therefore, you two should fight powerful wrestlers. There is certainly nothing unfair about that. You, O descendant of Vrishni, can show your prowess against me, and Balrama can fight with Mushtika." Hare Krishna.
Well, those are two wonderful chapters, and they're kind of transition into the next story, which is where Kamsa himself comes to his ending. Okay, so are there any questions or comments or elucidations you guys want to share about these two chapters? There's a lot of little stories within a bigger story because Krishna's kind of entering into Mathura, and as he goes, he's already killed a washerman. You know, he's already done so many different things along the way, so he's now continuing on. And there's some interesting observations in these two chapters that we'll go over in a moment. Does anybody have anything they want to talk specifically about in this chapter or go back over? Yeah, I see a hand there from Maharaj. Haribol.
No. This is very, very, very short. I was just thinking again and again, there's so many parallels with Ram Leela. You know, in both cases, they broke the bow.
Yep.
And then in both cases, they entered the city. You know? And in both cases, Ravana and Kamsa, they were thinking about Krishna and meditating and so many things. So it's very interesting to maybe go through and compare the incarnations and the activities like that. Okay, thank you.
Well, because when Krishna comes, Prichanaya Sadanam Vinashya Chadushkatam Dharma Samstapanartya Sambhavami Yuge. So he's coming again. Yada Yadahi Dharmasha Glani Bhavati Bharata Bhutanami Dharmasha Tadapmanam Shujamyaham. He's coming for this purpose again and again and again. So it's not really surprising that wherever he goes, he's killing all the demons. They don't stand a chance. I mean, I think I heard one place, Maharaj, where it said that Krishna killed a demon every day while he was on the planet. And actually, he killed whole armies. He killed whole armies, himself and Balaram alone. after he went to Dwarka. So there's so many wonderful stories that are yet to come about the adventures of Krishna. And we were talking about yesterday how everybody has to have a hero, right? So they've got this Spider-Man, they've got a Batman, they've got a Superman, they've got a Avengers, they've got every kind of nonsense mental concoction that has ever been created by the fertile brain of people who are steeped in illusion and the lower modes of ignorance. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in 327, you might remember this one, Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha hankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit souls, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, they think themselves the doer of these activities, which are in actuality carried out by nature. So these people are making it up as they go. They're making their own mental concoction, their own illusions, their own misgiving, their own misunderstanding, and they're creating a whole passion play around it, to be candid. So especially if you're in the lower modes of ignorance and passion, you can see that people are literally overwhelmed. We're going to talk about in just a second how the people saw when Krishna entered the arena. Everybody saw Krishna a little differently, right? And so Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that, Ye yata mang prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. Mamavart manivartate manusya parta sarvasham. All of them, as they surrender to me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respect. So what Krishna is basically doing as he's entering the arena, he's being seen by different people in different ways. Sometimes he was being seen by the men as the very best of all the males. He was being seen by the rulers like Kamsa and so forth as the rod of chastisement. As the yogis, Krishna was being seen as the absolute truth. And by the women, Krishna was seen as Cupid personified. So Krishna comes to us in different ways. Kamsa was in a state of absolute samadhi, but it was unfavorable because even while he was sleeping at night, he was having these horrible nightmares. He couldn't see his shadow. He couldn't see his footprints on the ground. All he could think about was his sure death. And if you go back to the beginning of the story with Kamsa, you'll find that after he heard the voice in the sky, he was willing on his sister's wedding day to grab her by her head and sever her head from her body. Had it not been for Vasudev's quick-witted, logical argument, she might not have made it. But of course, this is all Krishna's arrangement, and it's all a wonderful play for the Lord to exhibit his prowess over these personalities. Just like we heard about Govardhan Pooch, he had to straighten out Indra, who was filled with pride. Actually, Indra thought we were, or the residents of Vrindavan, the cowherd men, Nanda, they were all filled with pride because they had neglected his sacrifice. So he aimed to punish them by bringing, Samvartika cloud and Vayu and all they're all coming and trying to blow it away, sending hail. Nothing worked. Krishna protected everyone. For 7 days, he held them out. We just went over this story yesterday. What a wonderful, wonderful story. And in these two chapters, many of the activities that Krishna performed, including the killing of the Putana witch and Kaliya serpent and other activities of the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, are mentioned by the residents of Mathura as he's entering into the stadium or the arena. So interestingly enough, if we go back to the first the first chapter that we read, which is chapter 30, 42, right? Chapter 42. So it says, when Krishna entered the arena, the first thing that happened was the elephant, Aravata. Is this Aravata? This is not Aravata. What's the elephant's name? Do we remember?
Kubalaya Peter?
Kuvalaya Pida. We were struggling with that one tonight, weren't we, Maharaj? Kuvalaya Apida. That's the way Maharaj said it, because it's two words in one, right, Maharaj? Kuvalaya Apida, like that. So when he came in, the elephant keepers told the boys that get out of the way. The elephant was blocking the way. Move aside, boys. And he was very ugly to them. And as a matter of fact, he goaded the elephant into attacking Krishna. So what did the Lord do? The Lord immediately evaded the elephant, we hear, and then he disappeared. The only way the elephant could find him was through the sense of smell. So he found Krishna, and he actually got Krishna with his trunk, but Krishna broke his way free due to his strength, right? So then what happened was the elephant was goaded again to attack him, and Krishna actually slapped him and dragged him 25 bow lengths. 25 bow lengths. I would say a bow would be 6 or 8 feet probably in those days, maybe bigger. I don't know. We go to Jaipur, we see that the king was, 14 feet tall. So, but 25 bow lengths, by the tail, he dragged the elephant through the arena in front of all these people who are watching. And then the elephant tried to gore Krishna with his tusk. What did Krishna do? He tore the tusk from the body of the elephant and beat the elephant to death with his own tusk. You know, I had a teacher in science back in the school, and he said, because a lot of times we were not very much interested in science when we were in science class. So he always said, if you don't be quiet, boys, I'm going to rip your arm off and beat you over the head with the bloody end of it. And we used to think that was pretty gory. But it kind of reminds me of this story of Krishna, who took the tusk and beat the elephant to death. As a matter of fact, Balaram took the other tusk, didn't he? And they both entered scattered with blood and sweat and dust from the arena. It said they appeared very beautiful. And Balaram took the other tusk. So when they got, if you read text 17, let's look at text 17. I wanted to go over that one with you real quick. Easily, now this is when Krishna comes upon the bow. All right, so he goes to the bow, and everybody is seeing him in different ways, right? Everybody is overpowered. Their minds are literally overpowered by the beauty of the Lord, right? So he lifts the bow with his left hand. Lord Arukrama strung it in a fraction of a second as the king's guard looked upon him, and then he powerfully pulled a string and snapped the bow in half. Now check that out. Just as an excited elephant might break a stalk of sugarcane. Now this is a bow that no one could, it was surrounded by soldiers. Nobody could break this bow. It was an impossibility. Krishna walks in, snatches it up. It's nothing to Krishna. Absolutely nothing to Krishna. If Krishna can float billions of pounds of water over your head right now and let one drop at a time come down to protect you from certainly being crushed by the weight, that's pretty amazing, don't you think? That alone should prove to all of us the power and the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he can float billions of pounds of water above your head. He's keeping all the stars and the universes and the galaxies and the planets all in their perfect alignment. Everything is going on perfectly under the will of the Lord. So the sound of the bow breaking, it says, filled the earth and the sky in all directions. And when Kamsa heard it, he was struck with terror. So Kamsa has been struck with terror since day one, hasn't he? And who helped him stay struck with terror? Anybody know who the instigator was?
Narada.
Who?
Narada Muni.
Narada Muni. Narada Muni, the transcendental mischief maker. He's always appearing on by the vibration of his vein. It just appears where at his free will, and he sets the stage. And many times he sets it for purposes that are very difficult to understand until much, much later and analyzed by great sadhus and sages. For example, Vamsi Vilas Prabhuji mentioned that Kamsa, when he was killing the children of Vasudeva and Devaki, was actually killing his own children. Yeah. So see how these things are set up. And Narada came and told him about it. And now Narada's coming again and he's saying, hey, do you not realize that Krishna and Balaram are living in a different place and are coming to kill you. So this is the state that he remained in. Now, when Krishna broke the thing, what happened? The guards took up their weapons. They wanted to seize Krishna, and they shouted, "Kill him, grab him, beat him, seize him." Seeing the guards coming upon Krishna with evil intent, Balaram took up the two halves of the bow and beat them to death with two halves of the bow. That's pretty amazing. And after killing a contingent of soldiers, Krishna and Balaram left the sacrificial arena by the main gate and continued to walk about the city. Now, we know that when Krishna first entered Mathura, it said that he entered as an elephant in rut, that he walked as an elephant in rut. So everybody, all the women rushed up to the rooftops and been showering flowers. Their garments had loosened. They didn't bother to put one makeup on one eye, one unguent on one eye, and the other not. So they lost all control, actually, when they came in contact with the Supreme Lord. So the people of the city thought, what? What did they think Krishna and Balaram were? Does anybody know what they thought they were? You know what the citizens saw Krishna and Balaram as? They thought they were prominent
demigods.
They thought they were prominent demigods. So as they went through the city, all the people looked upon them and thought they were prominent demigods. They strolled about at will. They did whatever they wanted to, and then they had their wagons and camped and all this stuff. So many people spoke about them as they were going. Krishna and Balaram's feet were bathed. The two lords ate rice with milk. Very, very nice. And they spent the night there very comfortably. But if you go to text 26 and 27, you can see that Kamsa did not spend the night very comfortably. As a matter of fact, wicked Kamsa was terrified. He knew that Krishna and Balaram had broken the bow and killed his guards and his soldiers, killed his elephants. And it was all simply a game to Krishna. So he could not sleep that night. He remained awake. And both while he was sleeping and while he was dreaming, all he could see were the omens of his impending death. Pretty intense, don't you think? It says, it goes on, it says, when he looked, he couldn't see his reflection. He couldn't see his head. He couldn't see the moon and the stars. They all appeared as double. He saw a hole in his shadow. He couldn't hear the sound of his own breathing. It was silent. Trees were covered with this golden, weird sepia tone. And he couldn't even see his own footprints. He dreamed onward that he was being embraced by a ghost, riding a donkey and drinking poisons. He also saw a naked man smeared with oil passing by wearing a garland of nalada flowers. Seeing these and other such omens, both while dreaming and while awake, Kamsa was terrified by the prospect of his imminent death, and out of anxiety could not sleep. So when the sun rose the next day for the grand ceremony, king's men went about their program with their drums and their instruments. Can you imagine garlands, flags, ribbons, arches, city dwellers? They were all having a big time. The brahmanas, kshatriyas, all of the people came to sit down in the gallery, the royal guests. You can imagine this sight. Trying to imagine a movie. You know, there's movies coming out now about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sringadev and so forth. And these are dramatic scenes. These are epic scenes that are burned into the mind of a person. Just like if you open the cover of the Bhagavad Gita and you look at the cover of the Bhagavad Gita, it's so vast that little Krishna and Arjuna are on this chariot in the middle of this huge two armies of millions of men, hundreds of phalanxes of soldiers, all come for this great trial of arms to defeat one another, right? So this was going on, and these are the epic scenes that are emblazoned in our mind at the time when Krishna was on the earth. So the musical instruments are playing. Everything is getting ready for the royal wrestling matches. Everybody is fired up about it. Chanura, Mustika, Kuta, Sala, Toshala, they're all sitting down on the wrestling match. They're all getting fired up to do this. So this is a beautiful, beautiful story. And it ends right there, doesn't it? And there might be a few other points that I wanted to tell you about, but I may have missed them somehow. I wonder how I did that. No, I went over it. I went over that because we talked about how everybody saw Krishna when he entered the arena. So I did cover that. Okay. So Krishna says that in the 7th chapter, 14th verse of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this divine energy of mind, consisting of these three modes of material nature, is very, very difficult for people to overcome. But only those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So Krishna explains that to us because these persons are being affected. Everyone within the material universe actually is being affected, including Indra and even Brahma, because we're affected by those modes. And Krishna comes in the mode of ignorance as Lord Shiva, as a Shaktivesh, is my understanding, or plenary portion of the Lord. So these three modes of nature are very, very difficult for us to overcome. And we all have to grapple with the five senses, which include the mind. And we have to fight those senses to keep us from dragging us off that proverbial abyss and taking us to the most dangerous type of fear, which is to enter into the mode of ignorance and fall again into the whirlpool of the lower species. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7:15, Namang duskritano mudha prapadyante naradamai mayaya pritagyana asuram bhavamasritam. The miscreants that are grossly foolish, who are the lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is being stolen by illusion and partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender to me. Now, we're going to find out in these next chapters what happens when you don't surrender to Krishna. Okay. So I think it's set up pretty good for the next big chapter, which is going to be the killing of Kamsa. Now, when they saw the wrestlers, right? Oh, one thing, this is what I missed. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell you. This is very cool. So when they were coming into the arena, right? It says that the two lords are so beautiful, they overpowered the minds of everyone in the arena. And the people were actually drinking in the Lord just like you would drink in nectar. It says that they were drinking, they were licking, they were smelling, and they were embracing the beautiful character and the charm of these two boys, which are expansions of Narayan. And they went over some of his wonderful pastimes, how he killed these various demons and so forth. His glories had preceded him to the city of Mathura. So I wanted to cover that too, because Krishna is the original source of all pleasure. You know, when we perform Abhishek to the Lord, we take the nectar, it's called Charnamrita, and I think Maharaj is drinking some Charnamrita right now, the immortal nectar of the Charnamrita. Look, he's got it mixed in with some other beverage. It's a bit diluted, Maharaj. But hey, still just as potent, So the idea is that Krishna is nectar. He is the sweetness. He is the honey, that the devotees are always licking the feet of the honey that emanates from the Lord's lotus feet. This is a description found in Srimad Bhagavatam about the Lord's lotus feet. They're licking the honey. So this is the idea, is that Krishna is the source of all nectar, of all pleasure. Rama means the source of all pleasure. And we chant that in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is the end of these two chapters we've gone over. And are there any further comments? Or there's one from Vamsi. Please go,
Yeah.
Vamsi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
Oh,
you for the wonderful narration,
Hare Krishna.
and it was so nectarian. And Prabhuji, I just wanted to mention about Kubja, because that was a miracle that the Lord did to transform her from a hunchback to a beautiful woman. And I was looking up Kubja, and she in Ramayan was actually Ravan's sister Surpanaka, and she had come to and being very attracted to Ram, she wanted Ram to marry her, but Lord Ram was only going to have one wife, so he sent her to Lakshman, and then they kept sending her back and forth, and then she got really angry, and she was going to hurt Mother Sita, and then Lakshman cut off her nose, and and so all that
I
happened,
remember
but
that.
yeah, so in when the Lord came in Dwapara Yuga, he was more merciful. He's actually going to accept Kubja, um, and yeah, go to her house and everything. So um, uh, yeah, even though Shurpanaka wanted to, have the Lord as her husband, she couldn't get that satisfied. The Lord gave her an opportunity in the next incarnation.
That's beautiful. Thanks for digging that
Mm.
out. And it's just like Maharaj said earlier, there's so many similarities in the life of Krishna here and also in the life of Lord Ram. I mean, of course, they're the same personality, really, a different mood, a little different expansion for a different purpose, different time, place. But nonetheless, so many wonderful similarities. And this Prabhupada reminded us that this battle of Kurukshetra and this pastime is going on in hundreds of millions and trillions of universes simultaneously. And Arjuna is expanded with Krishna to each and every pastime. So this is the mystic potency of the Lord. Behold, the Lord's mystic potency. So we are awestruck, obviously. If you have the opportunity, from Jai Krishna. Okay. I don't know what his message is, but anyway, so this is the potency of the Lord, and this is how Krishna does it. And he's doing these pastimes again and again and again and again and again everywhere to bring us back home. We've forgotten who we are, we've forgotten why we're here, we've forgotten our purpose here, and we forgot who put us here, and we've forgotten our relationship with the Supreme Lord. So as a result, the spiritual master comes, right? He comes to bring with the torchlight of knowledge this knowledge, this truth that is liberating. And once we know it, Krishna says, if you know the nature of my appearance and my activities, then there is no longer any birth or death for you, but you will attain to my eternal abode, O Arjun. So, guys, that's about all I got. I love that. Thank you, Vamsi. Maharaj, any other comment? Straight from Houston, Texas, or are you in Dallas, Maharaj?
I'm in Houston,
You're in Houston.
Nilamada, yeah, where the deities are 6 feet tall.
Wow. Well, that's Texas size, right?
It is. And God created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. And on the eighth day he created Texas.
I think I saw a bumper sticker saying that one time.
There's a lot more about Kubja, but it kind of shows up, when Krishna goes and visits her like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
she's
coming up actually in the ensuing chapters as we
yeah,
read.
yeah, yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam, such nectar. I mean, it's the deathless nectar, it really is. And so we're grateful to have you with us tonight, Maharaj, and all you stalwart Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who've come to hear this eternal message. And for those that hear this at some later date, may you be blessed immensely by it as we are. So I guess at this point, with your permission, I'll end the class and on time, by the way. I think Ranga would be happy with that. Because sometimes my rides, we go over 30 minutes, 45 minutes. We used to go over 2 hours, but we'd have people clicking off. But it's good stuff. What can you say? You know, we relish these pastimes, and this is our we should be hearing these without cessation. Okay, so chant with me. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Thank you for the blessing of your great association tonight,
Hi,
Prabhuji.
sweetie.
Hare
Hare
Bol.
Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna everyone.
Oh, we didn't see
Hare
you
Krishna.
here, Swati. We didn't see you earlier. So glad you're here. Very nice to
Yes,
have
Prabhu.
you.
Prabhu, I was here around 7:15. So
Ah.
almost when the class will start. When the class will start, I was there.
Ah, that's beautiful. Thank you. I just didn't see your little screen because normally
Yes, Prabhu.
but we're glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
tonight.
you so much, Prabhu, for this class. I got the opportunity after a so long time. We were in Muscat, so we used to do like every week, even twice a week. But it's been 1 year. I have joined live lecture or something like that. Thank you so much. I'm glad, Prabhu.
We're
Yes,
so
and
glad
please
you're
join
back
us every month. Yeah, every week.
every week. No, not every month.
Sure, Mataji, I will definitely join.
Every week. We love to have you and bring all your friends too, because
Sure, Prabhu.
this is the sweetest nectar that you could ever receive. So let's do that together, okay?
Sure, Prabhu.
Jai Hari Hari Bol.
Hare
Hari Bol.
Jai Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Jai Prabhupada.